Hey, 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 hello, hello, hello. It is still Friday. It is Friday at 5 p.m. and welcome back to the platform. It is Women History Month and I am still drinking the Sun Goddess wine by Mary J. Blige. Go ahead and order your bottle and check it out for yourself and let me know what you think on Instagram. So a lot of times we think about history and women in history as people from the past. But let's not forget the people in the present making history around us every single day. My guest today is none other than Captain Carla Cimo. Captain Cimo had the unique opportunity of being invited to perform and play with the Armed Forces women's soccer team. Now that's history in the making, right on the job. And to do something you love and get paid for it, hey, who doesn't want to do that? So stay tuned. We'll be right back with Captain Cimo. You're listening to Camouflaged Beauty, a podcast of shared experiences for military women. So my guest today is an all-around professional, Captain Carla Cimo, a contracting guru, soccer fanatic, and simply just a fit everyday shero. And she joins us today on the platform. Ma'am, welcome to the platform. How are you?
Thank you so much. I'm good. How are you doing?
I'm good. I can't really complain at all. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Okay, like you introduced me, I'm Captain Carla Cimo. I'm born and raised in Cincinnati, Ohio. Played soccer since I was 5 years old. Since I can remember, yeah. I'm the oldest of four, so my little sisters are my entire world. They're 18, 17, and 14. Super, super tight-knit family. They're, like I said, they're just my whole world. I went to University of Cincinnati, played soccer there, and then did the ROTC program, commissioned in 2015. My first duty station was Joint Base Charleston in South Carolina, where I did my first contracting gig there. And then actually came back to Ohio to do something a little bit different, still contracting, but working for the commander of all of contracting, if you will. So that's where I am now in lovely Dayton, Ohio. It's been so good to be close to family and friends again. But like you kind of said, I am all about fitness and healthy lifestyle. I take that very, very seriously and to heart. And I think it kind of makes up a lot of who I am and kind of how I think about things. And just really the team aspect of fitness is something I'm super passionate about. So, that's a little bit on my background and me.
Outstanding. No, that's great. So this month, perfect, because we're talking fitness. And I know for you, fitness is a lifestyle. So tell us about that. So you've been playing soccer since you were 5. But did you really understand that that was a fitness journey to begin with?
No, not at first. I mean, so I grew up definitely a little bit of a tomboy. And so, yeah, playing like all kinds of sports was just like, I wanted to be outside, roughing it, with the neighborhood kids, with my cousins who were boys. I didn't just play soccer when I was 5. I think I also started like t-ball and softball. Right. And then that kind of grew to, okay, I wanted to try some more sports. Cause between the ages of like 10 and 13, kids are kind of just like doing what their friends want to do at that point. Like if your friends are going to play basketball one year, you're like, okay, I guess I'm going to try basketball. Right. So I played quite a few different sports, but I think it didn't really click then that it was like something I was passionate about or like my lifestyle. It was more just a way it was more social. It was more like I had my best friends. We were playing soccer. We were playing softball. We were playing basketball. We were playing volleyball, whatever. I liked the social aspect. But then also I'd say being a tomboy, I grew up to be a little bit competitive. So the competition aspect, I loved that playing sport as well. So I just think I was a super active kid. And that kind of evolved as I got older to make that into a lifestyle, if you will. So I think like before I realized it was a lifestyle, it was more of like a habit, more of a social aspect, more of, because now I look at my life and I'm like, man, I don't know what I would do with myself if I wasn't active. Like, where the heck would all this energy go? I have no idea.
Yeah, but think about it. So, I mean, you went to the University of Cincinnati and you played soccer there. So you didn't just do it as a hobby, as you think, right? You had to be good, right? To be even asked to represent the school. So you had to be good. So how does that play into the discipline of that? How did that play into your journey to ROTC?
Wow. Yeah. So good question. I actually, both ROTC and Cincinnati, I actually always joke about how I'm still paying. I have student loans from college, and people are like, how does that work? You played soccer and did ROTC. I'm like, well, I kind of did it backwards. So I actually, my senior year of high school, I was cut from the varsity team.
Really?
Yeah. So I was absolutely heartbroken. You know, like I said, my best friends were on the soccer team. My senior year of high school, I didn't play varsity soccer. And so I really found myself in this place of, again, what the heck do I do with my life now? Because at that point, I had probably stopped playing other sports, right? 13 or 14, and really just fell in love with soccer, focused on soccer. So I only played soccer in high school. And so when I didn't make the team senior year, it was terrible. And I kind of thought I was going to quit. Like I was like ready to give up soccer. I was like, you know what? Forget this. I don't want to do it anymore. Luckily, my club coach, so not the high school coach that had cut me, my club coach, he was furious and basically asked me to come play fall club ball. I declined because I was just super low about not making the team. Thought I didn't want to play soccer anymore. Ended up playing a winter indoor season, went to a couple college combines, and I had some offers from D2 and D3 schools despite not playing my senior year. But again, I was like not ready to leave my sisters. All the D2 and D3 schools that gave me offers, they didn't have the major that I wanted, which was athletic training at the time. And so I was like, you know what? I'm just not going to play college soccer. It's not that big of a deal. I was trying to like minimize it and just went to University of Cincinnati. Well, fate is a funny thing. I was walking since I lived in Cincinnati, like a week before school started. I was walking. I'm like, you know what? I'm going to drive down there. I'm going to see if I find the buildings where my classes are, so I don't look like that idiot freshman on the first day of school. And if the campus is dead, and I'm walking down Main Street, and I had like these soccer shorts on from high school, and this junior comes up to me and she doesn't even know me. She's like, do you play soccer? And I'm like, yeah. Well, I did. And she's like, well, you should come to open tryouts tonight. And I'm like, what? And she's like, yeah, like we're in this rebuilding phase. Long story short, Cincinnati was going through like this whole coach thing where quite a few freshman girls had lost their scholarships. So they were trying to get more player pool for tryouts. And she gave me the information. I already missed a day. So this was day 2 of tryouts. And I went home and I talked to my mom. I'm like, Mom, I don't know. Should I do this? And she's like, Carla, what do you have to lose? Like, you don't know anyone on the team anyways. What do you have to lose? Like, just go try. If you make it, great. If you don't, you weren't going to play anyways. So I grabbed my cleats, dusted them off, walked on the field, and I ended up making the team. And
wow,
it was crazy. It was a whirlwind. Yeah. So when that happened, that reignited, I think, my passion for not only just soccer, but that competitive spirit and working hard for something. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, like, I can't even tell you how many hours I trained and the effort that I put in that freshman year, because I was proud of myself for walking on, but then I was like, okay, now I have something to kind of prove here. Like now, like I'm in it. It just like re-sparked me. And so college was still a little rough, but I was still very much passionate about soccer. I gave it my all. I wasn't the best by any means. It took me a very long time to even play in a single game. But I'm thankful for that because it taught me, work ethic and, if you work hard enough for something, like you can do it.
Right.
And actually very same thing. So then when I commissioned and moved on to Charleston, South Carolina, I didn't even know the Armed Forces team, the national, like I didn't know you could still play soccer.
Right.
As a military member. I didn't know that was a thing. And so it kind of fell in my lap where I met now one of my best friends in the locker room. on base, and she had Air Force soccer shorts on. And I was like, hey, do you play soccer? And she said, yeah. And I was like, well, I just moved here. I'm looking to like just play in a fun league. And so after a few months, it was funny. I think it was a little tryout for her because she wanted to see if I was actually good.
Right.
And after a few months, she was like, hey, you should try out for the Armed Forces soccer team. And so I saw that as another opportunity for me to work my butt off for something that I wanted. And I was up every morning at 5 a.m. training 2 a days, sometimes 3 days for 8 months almost to make that soccer team. And so going back to like your original question, tying that into ROTC in the military, for me, it's like not so much as like, I think most people think, okay, the structure, the discipline, yes. But I think for me, it's again, that team aspect of like having people around you working towards the same goal. That is what's motivating for me. When I have people next to me, even like at PT, in RTC, like we all had PT Monday, Wednesday, Friday at 6 a.m. every single Monday, Wednesday, Friday. And I remember my very first PT session, I had no idea what I was getting into, 6 a.m. And I just look around and I see these people encouraging each other and pushing each other and working hard, like with the person beside them. And I was like, oh, I love this. Very much like a team sport person, not to say anything about like single sport people or people who, something like marathon runners, because that takes a lot of mental, strength too. But I think for me, the tie between the military and playing a team sport like soccer is really people around you working toward the same goal, people around you encouraging you, people around you pushing you, friendly competition with your teammates and with the people that, you work for and work with, and people who work for you. It's just, that is something that I think connected the two for me, and why I think I'm still so passionate about fitness and sport, both my personal life and military life, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. And you're right. So I'm a little old school. I love the camaraderie of PT. Even the people who are struggling with PT, you have a good group, man. They push you and they encourage you. And it takes you over that extra, that extra 100-yard, whatever it may be that you're struggling with. It's really, it's energizing, I think, at that point, so I totally understand, though I'm not a PT guru by any means, but having people around you while you're doing it, I think absolutely makes a difference. So you talked about doing like 2 a days, right? And so whether it's ROTC or playing soccer in college or high school or in the military, it takes a certain level of balance. And now you're a captain, you have a lot more responsibility. You have people under you. How do you maintain that balance of your personal life and your professional life and still doing something that you enjoy?
Great question. I think that if anyone has the perfect answer to that, to know, because it is a constant work in progress.
For sure.
I don't always get it right. That's for sure. But I think for me, I have to be intentional with my time. And still that's hard to do. But one, having people in your life that support you and your goals and know that the things that you're passionate about is so important, because at the time that I was doing those 2 days, luckily I was in a family situation where that was understood, that that's what I needed to do. And I was very much supported in that, which I'm so thankful for, because then you're not battling that kind of guilt. Okay, like, should I not be spending so much time training and whatever? Mm-hmm. But I think too, it's so hard. You have to have balance in your life in anything you do. And you're right. Like being a captain and having more work responsibility. There are some days where I don't make it to the gym. That's okay. And you have to show yourself grace for those days, because some days the scale's going to tip a little more towards work or a little more towards family time. And then being intentional about that, knowing that there are days that that's going to happen, you can be like, okay, now this Saturday, I'm probably not going to go to brunch with my friends and I'm going to spend an hour or two in the gym. So I think just like trying to plan out your days, looking ahead, and being intentional with your time. And like I said, also having a good support system. And if you don't have a support system, that's fine too. But I think being honest and upfront for the people that are in your life. So even at work, I mean, that's something that I've had to do is I talk to my bosses and I'm like, hey, sir, this is what's really important to me. And so I'm going to give you all I got for 8 to 10 hours of the day. But at 6 p.m. or whatever time it is, I have to leave because I have to either go train, I'm going to go to the gym. And trust me, you're going to like me a lot more if I get that time because that's just not even for, my mental health. It's for, me being able to continue to perform. I mean, because that's just something that keeps my mind right and my mind healthy. But yeah, having those conversations with my leadership too has been really important, and that transparency to say, hey, this is something I'm really passionate about. I understand that the mission comes first sometimes. And there's going to be times where I can't leave at 6 o'clock to go get my training in. But where I'm able to, I want to convey to you that, hey, this is something that is important to me and I need to make time for it. So kind of a broad answer. Like I said, I think I don't have the perfect answer, but just being transparent with people in your life and being intentional with your time, I think is so important.
Oh, for sure. That transparency is key. And that support is key as well. So good leadership, a good support system, we sometimes take that for granted, right? It's important because those people are the people that can also recognize you've already told them what's important to you. You've already told them what you need. And if they see you getting a little grumpy or overstressed, they're like, you know what, I'm going to just go ahead and cut her out early today so she can go to the gym and do what she needs to do, because I know as well that she's proven herself and tomorrow she'll come back and give me 100%. So I 100% agree. Now, you said something earlier, which is my saying for 2021, show yourself some grace. So I've been saying that a lot since the beginning of the year. And I specifically say this when I go to the gym. Because listen, the gym is not my thing. It's not. So a lot of times I think some women walk into the gym and it's intimidating. I know that you just don't play soccer. I know you do CrossFit and you're just having a fit lifestyle overall. So for those women who may be intimidated by the big scary gym and the big scary guys with the weights who won't move out of the way, or the girls too, because some of those girls in there, I'm like, I can't stand next to her. Look at what she's doing. I can't do that. I'm using the machines all wrong. They're like, ma'am, turn around. You're actually on the machine backwards, right? So what advice would you give to those women who may be intimidated, but are really striving to just become more fit overall?
A couple things, a couple helpful hints I think I give those women is, again, you know me, I'm a social butterfly. And so I think always having a buddy or a partner makes a lot of things, for me personally, a little less intimidating. Having someone else maybe that they're also new to this whole lifestyle, you're on kind of a new journey together. Having someone just next to you being like, okay, how do we figure this machine out? Let's figure it out together. Makes it a little less nerve-wracking. But and then I would also encourage women to maybe just do a little research, watch some YouTube videos. When I started first lifting, I mean, I still do. And I would consider myself like I know my way around the weight room, but I still watch YouTube videos. Also to just like spice up my workout routine, but maybe just like before you step in, educate yourself a little bit on, okay, I mean, you could literally Google or YouTube, workout for beginner female athlete or female in between the ages of 30 to 45 or whatever it is. And I guarantee you'll find some pretty good stuff so that like, you're like, okay, now I know how to use that machine, or I'm just going to focus on go in there and just do some stretching and kind of scope it out and feel it out at first and not jump immediately on a machine. Third thing I would say is, and this is still hard for me and it's not easy, but we always have this itch to compare ourselves, right? Like just like what you said. I mean, and I do the same thing. It's like we walk into a gym and we see, people that maybe we want our bodies to look like or not to look like, or, intimidation or whatever. And I think we have to like get away from comparing ourselves and our bodies to everyone else. And I think that alone will give women confidence to walk in there with their chin up and being like, I'm here for me. I don't care if anyone's looking at me. I don't care what you look like. I'm here on my fitness journey for myself. And I think that's an important mindset to keep like reminding yourself of. And then lastly, I think don't be shy about, asking advice from someone who has done it a lot before. So like, I mean, I've had plenty of people, and I'm so honored when they do ask me, hey, would you mind, help me type up a little workout routine, or, talking to someone that you can trust. If you have someone like that, seeking advice or going with them to the gym to be like, hey, can I just go with you a couple days a week and you can school me up the first couple of weeks? And I'm sure there are people, hopefully like me, that are willing to do that. Obviously, like free of charge. You can go pay for a personal trainer, but I think just finding someone that you can trust to kind of just learn from for a little bit. And like for me, like I said, I love when people ask me for fitness advice or workout tips. I love to share that. So those four things would probably be my best advice.
No, very well said. And I will say, in addition to what I said earlier, very rarely do I go to the gym and someone sees me use a machine wrong and they're like, this idiot, right? And then people always come over and help me. And I love it because they'll show me, and I meet a lot of people, and they'll see me a second time around. And they're like, oh, I haven't seen you in a couple of days. I'm glad you came back. So that always makes me feel good too. Yeah. So that's been my personal experience, but I do know it still is very intimidating for a lot of people. And it just makes them, in a lot of times, just want to quit, honestly. So I get it. So let's talk about this being on the Air Force soccer team, right? Okay. What an honor, first of all. Really? Congratulations, first of all, because that is not something that everyone gets the opportunity to do. Again, that goes back to show that you're good and you're consistent and you work hard and it pays off. So what was it like to even, be selected and perform on such a national stage?
Oh my gosh. I wish I could find the words to describe it. So far in my 28 years of existence was the greatest experience of my life.
Wow.
Absolutely. First, you get to, you show up to camp. I mean, first of all, to get paid for anything you love is like the greatest thing ever.
For sure. For sure.
Yeah. But you show up to camp and it's hard work. I mean, we did 3-a-days. Our first session was an hour from 6 to 7 a.m. We had a second session from 10 to 11:30. And then we either did yoga or swimming as an active recovery from 3 to 4. And then we had a 90-minute scrimmage every night from 7 to 9:30. And so lots of hard work, lots of physical and mental challenges that you go through. But I think that's what makes it, again, that much sweeter when you have these women, incredible, strong women next to you going through the same exact thing. It's so empowering. And I think, like, truly, I met the most incredible women on that soccer team. We are still so, so close. Because anytime you go through something like that, I mean, how can you not come out of it tight, right?
Yeah.
And that's the other cool part, right? Is that we already had this commonality of, at the very surface level, being women. And then you have this commonality of loving soccer. And then you have this commonality, which is very interesting, but also being in the military.
Yeah.
So you automatically click on so many other levels because there's just these super, relevant commonalities that you share with these 25 other women. And so it was truly, truly the best experience of my life. And like I said, lots of perseverance, lots of hard work. When I found out, so there were 3 rounds of cuts. So the first cut was after day 5. The second was after day 10. And then the final cut was 2 days before the tournament started. And so each cut was like so hard because, like I said, I mean, like all of us just got immediately super cool. We cared for each other. We pushed each other. Lots of friendly, hard competition. But every time girls left, I mean, like it was hard for all of us. And when I finally made the team, I mean, I remember, because then I think back to like my senior year of high school, and I think back to not really having a super successful college career. And I'll never forget like being on the field wearing USA on my back and standing in the middle of a beautiful, fresh turf soccer field. The stadium was made just for us in El Paso at Fort Bliss. Standing there in the middle of the field during the national anthem. I mean, I literally couldn't help but cry.
Oh my gosh.
Just like had tears falling down my face. And I was just, I mean, to even just like represent your country on like the national stage like that for anything, like, again, like being in the military, there's a lot of like pride that comes with that. But to represent your country doing something that you loved for the last 24 years, it was absolutely just incredible. And then it was really cool when the tournament started. So we played Germany, South Korea, China, the Netherlands, Canada, and then the other group, they were there, but we didn't play them. We were in separate pools, was Brazil, Cameroon, and France. And we still all hung out. And that was so cool. It's like, I got to meet so many other awesome women who were in the military and played soccer from other countries. I still talk to my French and German buddies often on Instagram. And that was so cool. Talk about like networking and like just learning about other women and their military and what they do for a living and how, you know, those things work. And then going and playing against them in a 90-minute soccer game. I mean, it was just honestly so surreal. I look back and I think about that time of my life, and it was 30 days. So it was only a month, but, and I met some of the best, like my best friends that I'll have for the rest of my life. But like I said, like being paid to do to live out my passion and meet other women from other countries and go through, when I tell you my body hurt every single day, my body hurt every single day, but it was so rewarding. I mean, like everything was just absolutely incredible.
That's just, to me, that is just so dope. I don't even know where to begin. There's so much dopeness in all of that. To even be selected, right? To be considered is always an honor, but to make it to 3 cuts, it is sad for the women that didn't make it. But that just a testament to you. So you should be extremely proud of that. What an honor to represent our country and our military at the same time too. That's pretty badass, if I may say so myself. So for women who may have the same passion as you do and enjoy playing soccer, how do you get invited to something like playing for the Air Force?
Every year, and unfortunately, COVID put a damper on it last year. This year is still, I think, in the air for Armed Forces sports, but hopefully in 2022, all the games come back online. But the information that gets calls for tryouts, or so actually how it works with soccer, at least. I know some sports that are still working to like build up. A lot of male sports are pretty built up to where you have to submit an application to be considered for tryouts. But women's sports, potentially, if it's, I know, like tennis, swimming, like a couple of other sports, I don't even think you have to submit an application. You can just put in your information and go to tryouts.
Wow.
But for soccer, we are building, we are still, we're growing constantly. You will submit an application and that information should flow down from FSS. So all that gets pushed out because it's services, it's Air Force Services is that runs the program. And then it should get to the base populace. If I would say sometimes that doesn't happen. And so I would honestly, if I were a woman in the military that wanted to look into Armed Forces sports, I would go to your base recreation center and ask, hey, has there been any calls for tryouts for Air Force soccer or Air Force basketball? And they should have that information. You can also, there is a splash page. There is a website, and you can just go on the website and it has all the sports, when the applications come out, when tryouts are, where they are. And that's how you would get that info.
Nice. Okay. So it actually doesn't seem like it would be that difficult to find and potentially get involved in. So I will absolutely send that information out to our listeners who may be interested and would like the opportunity as well. So once you play, so you made the team last year, 2 years ago now because of COVID, right? So almost 2 years ago. So once you make the team, do you get like, I don't know, street cred? Are you in there now, like in this elite group? Do you have to try out every year against new people, or do you just kind of walk in? How does that work?
No. So that's the thing too, is that that's what's interesting. And for soccer, like I said, it depends on how built up the sport is.
Right.
Because, so for example, the men's side, they have an Air Force team, a Navy team, a Marines, like they have all 5 branches team. And then what happens is they play a tournament, and the best players get selected from the 5 branches to make the Armed Forces team. For the women's side of the house, each branch doesn't have enough participants or interested applicants to make their own team. So women's soccer is all 5 branches. So it's cool, but it's a little bit steeper competition, right?
Right.
But since we're growing, you got to try out every year. And there's no guarantee. There's no guarantee just because you were on the team that you're going to make the team again. And I think the coach does a good job of remaining objective with that. Yes, they know you, but there's kind of a plus and minus, right? There's a minus because they know your strengths, but they also know your weaknesses.
Right.
And if they see a new girl that doesn't have those same weaknesses, you know what I mean? But yeah, so long story short, I mean, you have to try out every year. Just because you make the team once doesn't mean you're going to make it again, which I think, like I said, is a good and bad thing. I think it's a good thing because it doesn't allow yourself to get lazy. It doesn't allow yourself to get complacent. You have to continue to train and put the work in if you want to make the team. And like I said, since women's soccer is growing, the competition gets steeper and steeper every year. And I get older and older every year. And, there's these 22 and 23-year-olds that just get out into the academy and they can run circles around me. So yeah, I wish that there was for my sake, a secret club that I could just be on the team forever. But unfortunately, that's not the case.
I figured, but it would be super cool if that was the case, right?
Right. Yes.
All right, ma'am. Any final thoughts or words for our listeners today?
Man, I have a lot of thoughts, you know this. And I have a lot of words too. No, I would just say, since the theme is like going on fitness and sports, I think that it's important to know that like you can make a healthy and fit lifestyle based on anything that you like to do. And so I say that because like, if you like to dance, if you like to swim, if you like to play racquetball, if you like to, you can have a fit and healthy lifestyle. Even if you're just like going on a long walk or hiking or rock climbing. And it doesn't always have to look like being fit or living a healthy lifestyle. Doesn't always have to look like being in the gym and lifting weights, Mm-hmm. And I think that's so important to remember that. I took my little brother and sisters to a trampoline park the other weekend, and I couldn't even make it the full hour because I bet. So, and that's what I'm saying. I understand that sometimes the gym is like super intimidating, but like there's so many things that you can find to try to do to be fit and maintain a healthy lifestyle. And then, like you said, you touched on it, like one of your themes for 2021. I am super hard on myself, and I know you are super hard on yourself too. And you have to be able to allow yourself to have a bad day, allow yourself to not make it to the gym, allow yourself that donut on Saturday morning, allow yourself to smash Thanksgiving dinner and not punish yourself the next day at the gym. do things exactly how you would have if you went to the gym the day before. And that's something that I've had to learn, is because, like, for example, I went to Colorado to go find a place a couple weeks ago or last week, and I didn't work out at all. And I got back and I'm like, oh my gosh, I need to be in the gym for like 2 hours because I didn't work out for a week.
And, to make up.
And no, that's not how it works. My body's still going to look and feel the exact same whether I work out an hour or two. And that's also just more stress and pressure you're putting on yourself that in the long run doesn't do any good. Mm-hmm. So I think just being patient, giving yourself grace, having a goal a realistic, attainable goal for yourself and your fitness journey and your healthy lifestyle that you want to achieve. You know yourself better than anyone else. Having a support system, communicating that goal to people around you so that they can also help keep you accountable, I think is important. And then just building a plan, being intentional with your time on how to achieve that goal. Be patient with yourself. Be graceful with yourself.
Very well said. Well, Captain Carla Cimo, thank you so much for joining us today on the platform. It was a pleasure.
Thank you. So I've been talking about this with some of my peers, how honored I am that you asked me to do this. Like, anytime. Thank you so much. I really enjoyed it.
You're so welcome. All right, y'all, that's it for me. Remember, when you get in the gym, just tell yourself, I'm working on myself, for myself, and by myself. That's it for me, y'all. Until next time. Thank you so much for listening. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and share. You can find us on the book, IG, or Twitter. Email us your stories to camobeautystories@gmail.com. That's it for me, y'all. Until next time, be kind to your body, soul, and mind.